So how many of you guys are running a Safari Rack from GOBI? Come on, show of hands. I want to know. Why'd you raise your hands, goofballs? You know I can't see you. Anyways, today I want to talk about the rack that's on my JK. Now, I do really like this rack. She's sleek, low profile, extremely stout, can carry the weight of a rooftop tent and plenty of cargo, and has even worked as a roll cage and protected my quarter panels quite a bit from some off-roading that I've done. But if you want to hang accessories on this rack, like for example, traction boards or a shovel or a high lift jack, GOBI has no support for mounting brackets. So we got to get creative. If you're looking to do the same thing, I'm going to show you a couple of tricks that I did without fabrication to get these accessories hung on this rack. So stick around. I think you're going to enjoy this. Welcome back to Jeeping for Beginners, folks. Once again, my name is Josh, and today we are talking about the GOBI Safari Rack that's on top of my Jeep. I have had this rack on this Jeep for well over a year now, and I have scoured the internet, even contacted GOBI to try to find some accessory mounts in order to put my traction boards, shovel, axe, high lift jack, the heavy stuff up out of the way, up on the roof rack, which is kind of what we use our roof rack for. Have not been able to find anything. Now, short of fabricating and cutting and welding and making something that would actually work, I did a ton of research, a ton of shopping on Amazon and other websites to try to see if I can get creative. And I found a series of products that is going to allow me to hang my traction boards and everything else on the side of the rack, and it really didn't cost all that much, which is kind of nice. So let's dive right in. Let me show you what I found, and let's see if this is something that could also work for you. All right, guys, so the first thing that I want to talk about is traction boards. Now, this is becoming more and more popular as people definitely want to carry these around as they are a handy off-road recovery tool. However, they take up a lot of space if you just throw them in the back seat or throw them in the back of the JK, and we all know that Jeep Wranglers have very little storage in them to begin with. So hanging them on the rack makes perfect sense. Now, for MaxTrax, you can see that they already have mounting holes in them. These mounting holes are designed for their products. Now, if you look it up on the internet, it's easily anywhere from $150 to $300 to get a set of mounts from MaxTrax for a universal fit or for a specific fit. Well, like I said, we like to do everything on the inexpensive side. So what I found was these mounts. Now, this is cheating just a little bit because these guys are designed apparently specifically for a molly rack in a Toyota Tacoma, but they were $18. And I figured, well, for 18 bucks, it's got the right span. I think that I can make that work. In addition to that, I ordered a set of the pins that go right into the holes, and they actually turn and lock it in place. Plus, it allows you to put a padlock on it so that nobody can just walk up to your Jeep randomly and steal it. These guys were 40 bucks. So for basically $60, I was able to design a mount for the MaxTrax for a fraction of the price of what they actually wanted. So that takes care of the actual mount for the board itself. But how do we get it attached to the rack? Well, if you're anything like me, you've done a ton of shopping. I went to 4 Wheel Parts, Off-Road Warehouse. I've been on every website I can think of, contacted GOBI, tried to find the specific mounts for the small diameter tubes and the small spacing that they have on the low profile Safari Rack. Couldn't find anything. So, in a moment of clarity, I started doing some research, and it dawned on me, since it's easy to mount lights on this rack, and one of the ways that I was able to mount lights on this rack was with bar mounts, I went and I measured and ordered these little 1-inch bar mounts that'll go right around the tube that's on the rack, and lined up properly will go right on to the mount. So let me show you what I mean for a $12 mount and an $18 bracket on how easy it was to actually mount this to the Safari Rack. So, in able to get it all but perfect and secure, I did actually have to drill one hole into the bracket in order to meet the span of the little clamps that I bought. But it was actually relatively easy as it's not that thick of metal, and it went right on, bolted right in place, and is fairly secure. So I can actually hang the max tracks right here on the side of the rack. Too easy. So now that we got that mounted, the next goal on the other side of the rack is to hang a shovel, because you never know when you're going to need a shovel. And in my case, I'm also going to hang an axe, because we've come into a couple of instances where being able to cut our way down a trail is important. But again, these are things I don't want to carry inside the Jeep. So using the same little mounts on the other side, which hold nice and tight to the bars on the rack, I did some shopping and I found these guys. Now, talk about off-label use, whereas these are quick release clamps for stage lighting on a DJ setup. But they happen to be the exact right diameter for the handle on a shovel and the handle on an axe. And because it's only one mount, I can mount it directly to the clip, slide the shovel in, lock it in place, and then I have it on the other side as well. These, I think, are going to be super easy. So come on, let's get these installed too. My goal was to make it super easy and not have to put too much time into fabricating, drilling, welding, or using a skill that not all of us have. And the best part is all those components were really not all that expensive. In fact, I got them all off Amazon for less than 120 bucks for all of it. And now I've got the tools that I need on the outside of the rack, frees up some space inside for the rest of the cargo, because as the summer goes on, we're going to be taking a few trips. And now, just got to find a really good deal on a rooftop tent. But in the meantime, stay safe, happy Jeeping, and we'll see you next time. Now this is just one style roof rack, and one that has the ability to carry a rooftop tent. But this isn't all that's on the market. So stick around, because in a couple of weeks, we're putting one on my wife's JK that is so cool, you don't want to miss that video.